Alright, so our next sketching lesson, hands-on exercise, same website as always, autodesk.com, products, Fusion 360, learning and training tutorials. So hands-on exercises for sketching. We've already covered basics, intermediate, modifying 1, modifying 2. Now we're on to adding constraints and dimensions. So we can click on the slide deck and it tells us where to get started. So the first thing we want to do, no, you're not going to restart right now. Bad time for that. First thing we're going to do is open up this file inside Fusion 360, which I've already done. So just so that you see where it comes from, same as always, basic training tab, sketching tab, pocket knife. I've already opened it. Here we go. Now we want to edit, so we right click on the sketch and hit edit, and we have all our constraints which are down here. This is what we want to deal with. You can expand other options if needed, but for now we just need these guys. So from there, we want to put a tangent constraint between the top of the rectangle and the arc on the right. Sometimes you got to play with what order you click on things in order to get this to work. So that's the top of the rectangle and that's the arc on the right, and it didn't like that. So we can try clicking on the arc and then the top, and it doesn't like that either. So we're going to hit escape and we're going to try the other constraint that requested, which is a midpoint between the center point of the arc on the left and the left side of the rectangle. So midpoint constraint is the triangle. We're going to click on the point in the middle and then the center of the line. Boom, snapped and worked. Now we're going to move over and try to do our first one, which is a tangent constraint. We'll find that here. Tangent constraint. We're going to try again. There we go. So now it's made both arcs the same, and the whole point of that is just to show two different constraints that accomplish the same task. So now we can move to the next slide. So from here, we just want to do a bit of dimensioning. We're going to make the radius on the end 3 millimeters and the length 60 millimeters. So D for dimension, click on this line, drag it up, type in what we want, 60. Now the next past that, D for dimension, click on this. We want to make the radius 3. There we go. Got what we needed. Click back. Now we're on to our next slide, halfway there. So now we want to add a symmetric constraint to the two inner flat edges of the scissor blades. So that should be these guys, 1, 2. And an equal constraint, the bottom of the scissor blade profile. We'll just do one at a time here. So symmetric constraint. Zoom out. Let's go up to where the scissors are at. So symmetry. We're going to click. If we hover over it, sometimes it'll give us instructions. It's not ideal. So those are the two faces, and we want them to be symmetric. Symmetry changing the two inner flat edges of the circle or of the scissor blades. And if we come down and click on, now what's a line? And from there, our next constraint is equal constraint, the bottom of the scissor blade profile and the left side of the rectangle body. Equal constraint. So equal is this guy, bottom of the scissor profile and the left side of the body. And now that makes that radius the same as this one. So that's good. And a coincident restraint, the center points of these same two arcs. So what this should do is allow, so coincident, and it should move this point so that it lines up with the center of this point. There we go. Now it looks a little more like a utility tool. And next we've got drag the tip of the left blade to move the scissors closer to the pocket knife body. Drag the tip of the left blade so that's closer to the body. That little dot gives you a nice hint of what to do. So if we grab this guy, we should be able to try to get closer to the body. Looks pretty good. Maybe something like that. Okay. And then after that, dimension one of the arcs at the end of the scissors to have a radius of 7 millimeters. So that's pretty straightforward. D for dimension. Click on this arc. And make it 7. Oh, did it just crash on me? Oh, no, there we go. Nice. That little arc. Moving on. Back here. Next slide. Add 2 constraints to the bottle opener. So perpendicular constraint to the bottom edge of the left and the straight line connected to it. So zoom out, go back to where the bottle opener is, and we want a perpendicular constraint right here. So we've got to find where that is. Perpendicular. Click and click. And then I think it asks for a second one, perpendicular constraint again to the top line on the inside of the gap in the line connected. So that should be here and here. Same constraint is already highlighted. There we go. Now from there, add 3 more constraints to the bottle opener. So collinear constraint to the 2 lines on the bottom opener, the bottom bottle opener. Collinear to the 2 lines on the bottom of the bottle opener. Oh yeah, remember what to do there. So collinear puts things in line. Collinear, we click on this guy, and it makes it so it's nice and straight. Coincident constraint, the arc at the end of the bottle opener and the arc on the right side of the pocket knife body. So, and that is concentric. So find here concentric, and we want to click on this arc and this arc. It should make them line up with each other, which is good. And then we want to go equal constraint to the same 2 arcs. This should make it so that these 2 are to the same size. So we find equal, click on this arc, and click on this arc, bam. Now they line up. So that's good. Moving on. So all 3 profiles of the body, the pocket knife, the scissors, and the bottle are connected together with arcs of the same radii. So if we go here, we can see that these are the identical arcs, those 2 ends and these 2 ends, which would make it line up and look nice. And then the next check is, are the scissors and the bottle opener able to move inward towards the body? So hopefully we can click any one part, and that works good. It drags, pivots on that radius and moves towards the center of the body. And if we're any luck, we can click on the scissors and we can move them in as well. So let's click, shift, and they move in, but it kind of distorts the shape a bit. There we go. So I managed to get that into 1 screencast, which is pretty good. Take your time. These 10 slides are a little bit more complex. When you get to the constraint parts, don't get frustrated and take your time paying attention to the order of which you click on. When I went to do these first 2 constraints, if you click on the wrong part before the other, it snaps and draws one to the other. So it even matters whether you click on the arc first before the line or the center of the line before the arc. You got to take your time, pick away at it. If you have any questions, don't be shy to ask in class.